I really had no desire to see it again until this event, and then I thought, well, would it be like seeing an old friend? Well, it's kind of that way. But more than anything, it's a part of my history. It's kind of good to be back. The thing that's missing today is the wind isn't blowing. I remember that was one of the first things I noticed as a child, is the wind blew all the time here. I'm Mike Hosokawa. In 1942, my parents and I were incarcerated here at Heart Mountain, Wyoming, with some 10,000 other people. It was behind barbed wires and guard towers. Some 80 plus years later, this is my first visit back.
America builds a relocation camp for Japanese who were in this country on the day of Pearl Harbor.
It's hard to imagine the trauma of being told as an American citizen by birth that you're a threat to the nation and that you can't be trusted. My father came home and he said, we're having to move. People had to gather up their belongings, only what they could carry. I think the traumatic part is not knowing where you're going or for how long or what's going to happen to you. We went to the building where we were assigned an animal stall. The first thing I noticed was, Mommy, it's stinky here. Mommy, this isn't our home because it's stinky and animals live here.
The Japanese here will not be prisoners, and although they will be guarded by military police, they will govern themselves.
Not sure where the baby was born, if it was born here at the hospital or if they took it into the town of Cody. My name is Jackie Tono. I am a descendant of my relatives who were here at Heart Mountain. The story that I heard said that one of our aunts was raped at camp. My aunt was 14 when she got pregnant, and then 9 months later, she was 15, and then she had the baby. My grandma ended up adopting the young baby. It had to have been tough to be young and scared and having a baby and in the middle of winter, and who knows if it was a blizzard or what the snow conditions were like to tromp through to get over to the hospital. I want to tell this story now because my aunt isn't the only one, whether it was consensual sex or whether it was a rape. And if we don't tell the story, then who is going to tell it?
Well, this is the walk.
Yeah, I'm really glad we're doing this. Too bad we didn't do it sooner.
My grandfather was only 41 when he died, so we never got to meet him. My name is Mary Lynn Yamada.
My name is Ron Yamada.
My mother, her two brothers, my grandmother and grandfather were interned here.
My grandfather died of cancer, and so he was here until the end of his life.
He was hospitalized here, but it was far enough from the barrack. My mother says she had to walk 2 miles to come visit him at the hospital. He had stomach cancer. When he died, she came to go see him. He was jaundiced and his face was in a grimace. She says she'll never forget the look that he had on his face. She had nightmares about it for a long time. I think it was really terrifying for my grandmother. She left camp a widow. The family was basically without a father, husband, and as an adult, she was always scared.
The Orecha is the first actual documentation that I know of where the names of all of the people who were incarcerated in the 10 camps and other places are listed or documented, and the surprise was that the project will engage survivors to come and stamp by their name and the names of family members. I think it means to me
there.
A way of honoring my father and my mother, my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, and my paternal grandparents, who were all incarcerated.
The reason we created something called the Irecho, the Book of Names, that includes 125,000 plus names of all persons, of Japanese ancestry who were in places like Heart Mountain, is because we wanted to do something that was the inverse of what the government did to the community back then, which was to conflate everybody. It didn't matter if you're a US citizen or a Japanese immigrant, a little tiny baby, or a well-known community leader. They just lumped everybody together and said, you're a threat to national security. 2/3 of the people who came to Heart Mountain were US citizens. Our project is about how do we make sure that every single person who experienced this unjust incarceration is acknowledged.
Stamping the name of that baby, it means a lot of things. I mean, the horror of it, what my aunt had to go through. It has a lot of significance in a way for even all the other 500 babies born here. It will be an honor and also a memory to stamp those names, to say, we acknowledge you.
I found myself pretty emotional when both my father and my mother's name, when it came time to stamp them, putting a stamp by their name is sort of connecting to them, acknowledging, we knew you were there, and here we are.
My mother's name was,
Emiko Kato,
my uncles were,
Karl Hiroaki Kato, John Godo Kato,
my grandmother was Ikeno Kato, and my grandfather was Shigema Kato.
Jack Tono, Harry Tono, Harold Tono, Ted Tono, Tommy Tono, Mitz Tono, Asaya Tono, Mary Tono, Janet Tono, Kim Tono, Ruth Tono.
Alice Hosokawa, William Hosokawa, Tora Miyake, Setsugo Hosokawa, Kimio Hosokawa, and me.